Hare Krishna. I thank all of you for watching this Weekend Wisdom series on Bhagavad Gita. Today we are going to conclude our discussions on chapter 6, and theme for today is quite interesting. Can we be unsuccessful? And this is the same question asked by Arjuna from Krishna. We'll cover shloka 37 to 47. 37, 38 and 39 query, 40 to 47 answer by Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. So we all know that the journey of spiritual life begins with faith. And when we are practicing spirituality, at times we observe that we are unable to follow the principles of spiritual life because of our engagement in day-to-day material activities. It could be our job, our business, or our family engagement, or some society engagements. So what is the destination of those people? They practice spirituality for some time, but now they are unable to practice it, or they fall down from their position. So what happens to them? This is a question that Arjuna has asked. So they are neither in the material life, nor they are there in the spiritual life. What happens to them? What is their destination? Let's take an example. We often see in the material life, if students are studying MBBS or law or engineering exams in their colleges, and if say they do it for just 2 years and then they leave their studies in between, what will happen? The entire effort of the 2 years will be wasted. And this is the same question that Arjuna had. So Arjuna is telling Krishna to please remove my doubt. Like Arjuna is telling about this doubting proposition, similarly, when we practice spirituality, or for that matter, whatever we do in our life, we must be free from doubt. If we have any tinge of doubt, that means there is a problem. And Krishna says, Sanshya Atma Vinashyati. So if we are doubting in our life, ultimately we perish. And that is why Bhagavad Gita is a dialogue of questions and answers. We ask questions only when we have doubt. So we must ask questions. There is no harm in asking questions, especially in our day-to-day spiritual life, so that we can run the radar of our spiritual life smoothly and enthusiastically. Okay, so this is the question part. Now we are getting into the answer part, starting from shloka 40 to 47. So there are two kinds of assets in this world: material assets and the spiritual assets. So Krishna is telling Arjuna the solution. Krishna is explaining it very logically. He is telling that spiritual assets never lost, and material assets in terms of our achievements, it could be a good job, it could be a nice bungalow that we may create, it could be having a big car with us, or having good reputation in the society. Ultimately, everything finishes off when this body finishes off. So spiritual assets never lost, but material assets lost with the passage of time. Let me give you an example. Like we took one example of students studying for different examinations in their colleges. If they leave something in between, then it becomes useless. But if we are practicing spirituality and if we left it, let's say somewhere at 10%, then in the next life, we are going to start it from 11%. It's not that we have to again start it from zero, scratch. That doesn't work in the spiritual life. So in spiritual life, we don't have to start from scratch. And whatever little endeavor we do in our spiritual life, it saves us from the biggest danger. That's what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So what happens to them in the next life? This was the second question that Arjun had asked. In spirituality also there are different paths that people follow. And people who follow, let's say, Dhyana Yoga or Jnana Yoga, then they might get transferred to the higher planetary systems. Like Earth is one of the planet. Similarly, there are other planetary systems also. And when they are being transferred to the higher planetary systems, there they can enjoy more, because the duration of life in those planets is more. Let's say if we are in this Earth planet, here we spend 6 months, and there that 6 months could be equal to 1 day. That's one of the biggest difference, because of which they can enjoy more. But can they enjoy unlimitedly? The answer is no, they cannot enjoy unlimitedly. So they also come back. Now when they come back, again Krishna is telling about it in other shlokas starting from 41, 42, 43. So Krishna tells there could be 3 different situations. We take birth again in this world if we are unsuccessful in the practice of spirituality. Then one is that we may take birth in the pious families. Pious families are the families when people are charitable by nature from the beginning, or who are having some Brahmanical qualities. They are good at heart. They believe in doing good deeds for the society, for other people, or for other living beings. And the second category could be that they may take birth in rich aristocratic families. So when one takes birth in those families, then they don't have to do too much of hard labor. They can just enjoy with whatever money they have, that they have got through inheritance from their family. They don't have to do that hard labor to establish themselves in this world. So this is second category. And then the third category of people could be the people who are taking birth in the families of yogis or transcendentalists or devotees. Now this category of birth is very rare, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Because if you take birth in the families of devotees, then from the very beginning of your life, you get an opportunity to practice the path of spirituality. You get very conducive environment to grow yourself on understanding the science of devotion. When you get a conducive environment, in that conducive environment, you can easily relate to whatever good sanskaras that you are carrying from your previous lives. And by remembering those sanskaras, you quickly pick up the path of spirituality. You adopt that path of spirituality in your life, and then you practice it nicely. And when you practice it nicely, then you can easily get out of this cycle of birth and death in this material world. So there is no loss. Ultimately, there is only benefit if we are sincerely practicing the path of spirituality. So we have that question, can we be unsuccessful? We'll be talking about it in detail. Just wait for a while. Okay, so if we are If we commit a lot of sinful activities in our present life, then the outcome would be we will be committing more and more sinful activities in the next successive lives. And if we commit more pious activities in the present life, then we'll have a natural inclination to commit more and more pious, righteous activities. So these are the two different classifications. And in the shloka 46, now Krishna tells to Arjuna that no matter whatever you do in your day-to-day life, just be a yogi. Now we are concluding our discussions on chapter 6. So we'll be having a brief discussion around shloka 47. In fact, this shloka is like a concluding remark on the yoga system. We see in society there are so many yogis, so many people are practicing yoga. So what is it really? That's what Krishna is concluding here in this shloka 47. Yoginam api sarvesham madgater mantaratmana shraddhavan labhate yomam same yukt tamo mata. Like here it is starting with Yoginam api sarvesham. He's telling there could be many devotees, or there could be many. Here Krishna is telling that there can be so many different categories of yogis. But who is the topmost yogi? What are the qualifications of one who is a topmost yogi? So first is, in this shloka Krishna is telling, who have complete faith. Faith in what? Faith in the teachings and the message of God. That is the first thing. We have to have faith, and when we have faith in God, that means we follow the teachings of God. So abiding by the instructions of God. When we follow or abide by the instructions of God, then we start thinking about God. We start using our intelligence to understand God. And we start to think how God thinks. We start to meditate on His instructions for us. And then we look for the ways how we can please God. And for that, we basically practice spirituality. And then the last point is, then they render loving service unto me. And there is a big difference between bhakti and traditional puja that people do. I'll be talking about it separately. Okay, so now rendering loving devotional service unto me. Then what happens? We have faith as the first step. On the basis of faith, we abide by the instructions. And after abiding by the instructions of God, then we start thinking about God. We start thinking about how He thinks, what He expects from us. And then we think we start meditating on the ways how we can please Him. And then we start rendering loving devotional service to God. And all these things can even go in parallel. It's not that it is a step-by-step process. Faith, instructions, thinking, and then rendering loving devotional service to God. All these things can go together on the path, on this path of Bhakti Yoga. Okay, now I am coming to other interesting part. Here Krishna has used in this shloka yuktamo mata. He's telling that this is my opinion, because it is the beauty of Krishna. Although He is God, He is Supreme Personality of God Himself, but He never forces His opinion on anyone, because He loves us. And in love, you cannot just outrightly force your decisions on someone. You expect that a person follows naturally. You can tell, okay, this is what I expect from you. Now, you can follow it or not, it is your choice. But I don't want to force it on you. This is how loving relationships work even in this world. So now let's discuss the question that we have, can we be unsuccessful? In fact, to understand this question and the answer to this question, we need to divide our life in two parts. One is material life and other is the spiritual life. So material life definitely work on the tangent of success and unsuccess, when we know that everyone cannot be on the top. Some people can be on the top, but not everyone can be on the top. And everyone wants to be on the top in the material life. So in material life, there is a concept of one being successful or unsuccessful. But when we talk about spiritual life, the second part, in spiritual life, in fact, there is no concept exist of one's being unsuccessful in spirituality. That's what Krishna is telling to Arjuna. On this path, there is no loss, there is no harm. On this path, whatever you do, it will be counted, it will be taken into consideration. And whenever you will be starting next time, you will be starting from the next level. So we are not unsuccessful in the spiritual life. In material life, everything works on the principle that, okay, I achieved this much in this life, be it in terms of the bank balance, in terms of having assets, empire, reputation, fame, prestige. But everything is going to get finished as soon as this body will get finished. This is a limitation attached to the material life. And in spiritual life, it's different. In spiritual life, there is nothing that can ever vanish, because spiritual life itself is eternal. And everything attached to the spiritual life is eternal, because soul is eternal. And whatever we practice on the platform of spirit, the soul, that becomes eternal. So how can there be unsuccessful endeavor on the path of spirituality? So no one can be unsuccessful on the path of spirituality. If we'll be too much focused on the material life, then there will be success, there will be unsuccess. But if we are in parallel, well focused on the spiritual life, then there is only success. So we can never be unsuccessful if we are focused on spiritual life. Because for a devotee who is practicing spiritual life sincerely, for him there is no material life. Material life does not exist for him, because whatever he performs, even on the material platform, even that action, that activity is also spiritual ultimately, because everything is judged on the platform of consciousness. It is not judged on the platform of our external actions only, but how we respond internally to the different situations, to the different circumstances, to the way we observe the reality of this world. So we have completed chapter 6 today, and we'll be starting chapter 7 from the next session. And we are getting into the more interesting part of Bhagavad Gita now. It is in the middle, chapter 7 to chapter 12. It is more focused on Bhakti Yoga. And Krishna has kept it confidential by keeping it in between. He kept Karma Yoga focus chapter 1 to 6, Jnana Yoga focus chapter 13 to 18, Bhakti Yoga focus chapter 7 to 12. Look forward to have all of you with us in the next session of Weekend Wisdom series. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.